TIFU by making a suicide joke in a psychology class.
Great way to start off my Monday class. I'm a college student majoring in psychology. Today we were in a Zoom call because COVID numbers in my school area started to spike up. My class is at 8 a.m., so my roommate hasn't left for class yet. We are going about our lecture and my roommate wake up and gets on his phone. My psychology teacher starts talking about dopamine in the brain. He talks about adrenaline junkies who like to skydive and bungee jump. My teacher says I cannot begin to think what goes on in someone's mind to want to jump off a bridge with a rubber band around their waist. So I turn to my roommate and say some people like to jump without a rubber band. Then I heard my class go silent with a few gasps and one quick chuckle.
Then my teacher said, "Please don't make those kinds of jokes in my class, thank you." I froze and quickly muted myself. My roommate died laughing at me. I felt so embarrassed. Roommate is still laughing at me. Edit: I thought I was muted. I wasn't. TLDR, made a joke about bungee jumpers without the bungee in a Zoom call.
I guess that joke landed flat.
Been there, done that. At least the person laughed.
As someone who has struggled with depression and suicidal thoughts, I approve PF this joke. Dark humor is pretty prevalent in the psych unit.
It definitely wasn't appropriate to say in front of a class, but as someone who has been grappling with intense suicidal ideations for years, it sounds like a joke I would make in private to someone else who understood. A broken rubber brought you into this world and a broken rubber is going to take you out of it. You would think a psychology professor would be more open to a discussion on why people do in fact jump without a rubber band.
If anything, you can be friends with whoever chuckled.
I was in a statistics class once and the teacher was going on about how you couldn't make a truly random dot plot. I said sure, you can just hand a pencil to Michelle J. Fox and have him draw a straight line. Most of the class gasped like it was the worst thing they had ever heard. The teacher in full math mode goes, "Yeah, that would probably work." Then he caught on to what I had said and "Oh, that's horrible." I thought it was funny. As someone on the legal limit of antidepressants before I am involuntarily hospitalized, I approve. During a history class on World War II, the teacher was discussing the nuclear bombings and the impacts on the morale of the nation and said, "Can you imagine how they felt?" I just muttered to myself, but slightly louder than intended. Hot. My cousin, who was also in the class and sitting next to me, started dying laughing.
Unfortunately, dark humor isn't for everyone. In my experience, people without it are very boring. This isn't a FU. You made a joke that didn't land. It happens. Nobody will even remember tomorrow.
By the way, as someone who liked to jump off a bridge with a rubber band around their waist, my mind says you only live once, and it makes me feel alive and be in the moment. IDK, as a psychology professor, this person sure sounds very judgy. Well, I mean, they're usually called base jumpers in that particular instance. But I feel for you.
Fuck him. If they can't take a joke, their life must be boring.
Everyone has their ups and downs.
You'll bounce back.
I think he overreacted. I'm also majoring in psychology, and sometimes the teachers laugh or even make jokes along with us. It's called base jumping. You don't have a rubber band around your waist. But you do have a big piece of cloth strapped to your back. I've been thinking of killing myself every other day or so for the past decade. That's pretty damn funny.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.